أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على خير خلقه أجمعين محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم وصدق مولانا وبلغ رسوله الكريم وصدق مولانا أمير المؤمنين ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله Rabbil Alameen. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. First and foremost, tonight, or in this talk, I would like to kick it off by asking this question. What is the aim of the month of Ramadan in a believer's life? What does the believer gain from the month of Ramadan, or wish to gain, or should aim to gain in the month of Ramadan? Inshallah, this is a topic that we'll go deeper into on is it Friday? Yes, when we discuss the goals for the month of Ramadan. But in short, it is taqwa. We see that in this verse that we started with, why it was fasting prescribed upon us, why as it was prescribed upon those before us, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that perhaps, or so that you become pious, so that you gain taqwa. However, we'll discuss this further inshallah under that topic. But when we talk about a believer, or when we talk about a Muslim, or when we talk about faith, religion, Islam, there are levels that as an individual you have to go through before you reach that high position in faith or in Iman. So we hear this all the time. They say that Islam or the religion has three levels. The first level is Islam, the second level is Iman, and the third level is Ihsan. But even these ones, to make it, just to give you an image or to give you a picture, even these, they also have levels. They are not just that you go from one to the other. No, it takes some effort to go from one step to the other. So the first step, which is Islam, is divided into three itself. So when we talk about Islam, Islam is mere submission. Okay, let's remove the mere and just keep the submission. Islam is submission. وَسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا, and submit a thorough submission. Okay, but now this submission, it can be divided into three ways, or into three levels. The first one is the verbal submission, whereby, for example, we see some people who take the shahada, they recite kalimatu shahadatain, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna muhammadan rasulullah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, but then it ends there for them. This person, jurisprudentially, whether they live as a Muslim or not, we are obliged as Muslims to bury them. Rahmatullah on my friend Temba Mhlanga, aka Baby, who I was not in the country when he passed away. He insisted that I take him to the masjid, and he took the shahada, and he loved the name that was given to him, Noor. Rahmatullahi alayhi, he passed away. He's one of the reasons why nobody bullied me in high school. He was lifting weights and all. Rahmatullahi alayh. I was not in the country when it happened. And, you know, with, when people take up Islam and they become Muslim, sometimes it's hard to show it to the family, or even the family sometimes will not take it. Also, this is something that we'll discuss next week, inshallah, in the 5-part series, Being Black and Muslim. But there are some people like that. Okay, unfortunately, at the time as well, I was not a scholar, so I could not train him. Yes, here and there we tried. We used to pray together from time to time. We used to do this and that, fast together, and so on. And then I left the country, Tanzania, Iraq, and so on. And then he passed away, rahmatullahi alayh. May Allah be pleased with him. But he did the verbal submission. Whether he lived as a Muslim or not is something else. That's enough. No? Then there comes the second part, which is the internal. So it's the verbal affirmation and then the internal decision making, whereby you say, no, I live as a Muslim. This is an integral part for every one of us, born Muslim or who embraced Islam. It's a very important part whereby we make the decision, the conscious decision that I am a Muslim. So this person maybe they still don't pray, maybe they still don't fast, maybe they still don't do this and that. But for example, and this we see this a lot, like some people they do everything else, everything in this world, but you offer them, they'll even drink alcohol, but as soon as you offer them pork, well, he says, no, I'm a Muslim, I only eat halal. In his hand is a glass of wine, but his heart is firm that, no, I'm a Muslim, I only eat halal. You see? So this is also a certain level that even though he acknowledges that, okay, you know what, I'm a sinner, but his heart knows that I am a Muslim. I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing it. You see? So the submission is there, but maybe it's not total submission. Then the other submission is where even then in terms of actions they submit. Now this is a transition. I'll explain why it's a transition. That they perform their salah, they eat their halal, they fast, they do this and that, but perhaps they do commit some sins as well. Now when they better that state, that level, when they better it, it's a transition to becoming iman. So that action state is of two levels in itself. There's one part where no, they do all the actions, but they fall short. And then comes the second level of that, which is now in that which will fall under Iman and no more under Islam, whereby their actions are now sincere and they look after their actions. When they do commit a sin, they do tawbah, or they show regret, or they show remorse for, okay, you know what, I did something wrong. This, as a transition state, is the highest form of Islam, but the lowest level of Iman, faith. Sorry. You see, so here they take care of their actions. Then comes the conscience. The conscience. This is the second level of Iman, whereby when they do acts, they do them with conscience. They know that, okay, maybe they may still fall short and do certain mistakes, but they do them with conscience. Now this helps them, an-nafsul lawama. So even when they do sin, there's something in them that tells them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Even while doing it, there's that thing in them, that alarm that keeps ringing in them. This is a form of iman. It's a high level of iman, because we should not be proud of this, and we should not use this as an excuse to do sins, but we are not ma'soom. But the conscience is there. It talks to them and tells them, look, you know better. You should do better. Do better. The conscience now talks to them. You see. Then this takes us to another transition now from al-Iman to Ihsan. This is also a transition because now they're focusing on actions and doing them with intent. They don't miss the actions anymore. Why? Because they know better. So this is a very good discriminant, something to distinguish between the two. That a Muslim might lack some knowledge, but a mu'min, a believer, has knowledge. They read up on Islam. They do their research. They This is the main difference, you see. And then they act on what they know. They act on what they believe. This is the major difference between the two steps of Islam and Iman. What I'm explaining now is just breaking them down, how are each different and how one can attain each going through the steps. Then in Ihsan, the second level is that they do everything to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mentioned that we should not be proud of it and should not use it as an excuse to commit sins, that we are not ma'asum. But can we achieve it? Definitely. Definitely. Let me give you an example. Imam Ali alayhi salam, what does he say? إن الرجل إن المرأة لا يكذب كذبة فيحرم من صلاة الليل. Somebody tells a white lie and they are prevented from Salatul Layl. That's it. So it means if you don't lie at all, you will not miss Salatul Layl. The easiest sin is lying. The easiest sin is lying. Maybe and staring at the opposite gender or sex. These are maybe the easiest sins. So it means if you can stay away from these, if you can perform Salatul Layl from today until you die, perhaps from today until you die, that tawfiq is a manifestation of a level of immaculateness. Immaculacy? I don't know. It is a level of infallibility. There's a level of isma. If you from tonight until you die perform Salatul Layl, perhaps that is a manifestation of isma, of infallibility. Can we achieve it? Yes. So this level of, the second level of ihsan is that now you do everything to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We said that the first level is everything with intent. Here is that with intent to please Allah. Nothing that you do, nothing. There's nothing that you do without doing it for the pleasure and for the sake of achieving proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I saw a hadith the other day. I say I saw because I don't know the reference, where the Prophet tells Abu Dhar, he says that everything that you should do, O Abu Dhar, should have an intention. See, now this is ihsan. Now everything that you do should have an intention, even drinking water. That's what the hadith says. Then the highest level of ihsan is where we become godly. And this is perhaps what we can explain to be taqwa. As Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam says, that Allah finds you where He wants and He does not find you where He doesn't want. So what all this explanation that has gone on for is to highlight that achieving this is a process. It's not overnight. It's not by mere saying, waking up and saying, no, today I'm a muttaqi, no, today I'm a believer. No, it's by process. You have to go through certain phases. Can you skip phases? Perhaps. But you have to go through certain phases to achieve this. You don't just achieve it just like that. It is a process. Now, the starting point is clear. Wherever you are now is your starting point. The destination too is also clear. What is in between is what we have to find. Now, the month of Ramadan is a good, perfect opportunity to achieve this, to succeed in this, to triumph in this, and to win in this challenge, in this progress. So, from the beginning of the month of Ramadan a few days ago until Eid al-Fitr, there must be a clear difference between how you entered and how you came out. How you entered the month of Ramadan and how you come out of the month of Ramadan. Take this as an opportunity, take this as a process, and trust the process, and take this as a training grounds. Mr. Bilal Muhammad on Facebook says that this is an opportunity perhaps for the reboot that you have been waiting for. It's very interesting. Wow. It's very interesting that if we look at the month of Ramadan like that, then it changes. Now, this is also even clear. This is also even clear if we look at the hadith that describes how the month of Ramadan is divided into three parts. He says in Al-Kafi, volume 4, page 67, وَهُوَ شَهْرٌ أَوَّلُهُ رَحْمَةٌ وَأَوْسَطُهُ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَآخِرُهُ الْإِجَابَةِ وَالْعِتْقُ مِنَ النَّارِ. Becomes clear when we understand this hadith that it is a month whose beginning is mercy, whose middle is forgiveness, pardon, and its ending is a response or answering of supplications, or and al-itq min an-nar, salvation from the fire. You see, so it means the first 10 days they are mercy, the second 10 days are forgiveness, the last 10 days are the answering of supplications or salvation from the hellfire. Let's take this, let's look at this for a while. What does the Holy Prophet say? That is, I think, that is the next talk, inshallah. We will take pointers from the sermon of the Holy Prophet, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah grant us the tawfiq. شهر دعيتم فيه إلى ضيافة الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. This is what he said. It is a month where you are invited to the banquet of Allah, to be the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the manifestation of mercy, because when that month starts, it is the welcoming. Everyone is welcome. Come, 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 come. The door is open, come. Not that it closes, but that those first 10 days is where everyone comes. Check also how the trends that happen in the masajid, in our programs. The first 10 nights, don't get very good numbers, people attending and so on. Second 10 nights, then it becomes a bit more. Last 10 nights, it starts dwindling again. But this is the welcoming. These are the most important nights. These are the most important nights where we get the mercy. You know, meet and greet, welcoming, getting comfortable, creating that slight momentum, gaining that traction of how to navigate in this auspicious month of Ramadan. The first 10 days, we accept that invitation, and then this is the welcoming, the meet and greet. The second part is maghfirah. So now it is the deliberation after the welcoming. So in the first part, oh no, we get those finger foods and whatnot, yeah, welcoming at the banquet. Now it's deliberation now. Now we're in a meeting. Now we have to discuss that, hey, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look, I have committed sin 1, 2, 3, and I seek your forgiveness, because if you don't forgive me, then who's gonna forgive me? And if you don't forgive me, what hope do I have? You see, now it's deliberation. Now it's deliberation. Now this is what you pray for. On Ikwekwezi FM a few days ago, they asked me, what do we pray for in the month of Ramadan? I told them this hadith. I said, firstly, we ask for the mercy of God, then we ask for the forgiveness, and then we ask for the salvation from the fire. So in the second 10 nights, it's now that, as I said, the deliberation. You want to now talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, converse with Him and tell Him that, look, I acknowledge my sins. I acknowledge my sins. Thank you for this kind invitation. I acknowledge my sins. I want to be better. Please grant me tawfiq to be better. And the first step of me becoming better is being certain that you have forgiven me. Being certain that, oh Allah, I, my slate is clean. I am free from those sins. I am repenting to you and I seek your forgiveness. Then, the last 10 nights, they are the farewells now. We're starting to pack up now. The full moon is now becoming smaller and smaller, and it's going to be a new moon soon. Soon after that, we'll be seeing another crescent. Then we'll be chanting Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. The month of Ramadan will be over, the month of Shawwal will be starting. Another test on its own. Why is it a test? Look, in the month of Shawwal, for 25 days, there is no event, other than the demolishing of Baqi'. There is no major event from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam until the 25th. So those 25 days, imagine after going through this 30-day rigorous training camp and then going to that leniency. Now that's the actual test now. You have to check yourself in those 25 days from when you see the crescent until the martyrdom of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. How do you fare? How do you keep up? Very important. Those last 10 nights, farewells. Starting to pack up. We're preparing for the end of the month of Ramadan. We are sad because it's ending, because this mercy, this forgiveness, this bounties, this banquet, it's coming to an end now. Thus, Laylatul Qadr is in the last 10 nights as well. The Layali al-Qadr, the 3 nights of Qadr, they are also in the last 10 nights of the month of Ramadan. Because in the last 10 nights of the month of Ramadan, now we are sure we are done deliberating now. Now we are waiting for answers. Now we are waiting for results. Now we're waiting to know how everything went. That's why we're in those last 10 nights now. You see, we are waiting for the decision. We are waiting for the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're waiting for answers. But answers are for the pious, those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who came into the month of Ramadan as pious. He will answer their supplications. And inshallah, us as well, the poor sinners. But the sinners, what's most important for them is the salvation. That's why the last 10 nights the last 10 days have these two things, the answering and the salvation. The salvation, because you want to be sure upon leaving the month of Ramadan that we mentioned very scary ahadith last night. You want to be sure that you are not going that direction. You want to be sure that, let me be safe, And this is why in the article that I wrote about the friend who woke me up saying Ramadan Mubarak, and I responded to her telling her that, look, Ramadan Mubarak to you too. You may not be Muslim. It's for everyone. The point is, it is for everyone. So this month of Ramadan, look, the sinners will get salvation. Those who are pious, they will get answers to their supplication. This is a month that we are guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everyone is welcome, and everyone will get answers proportionate to their situation. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq to benefit the most from the month of Ramadan, and not make us losers for not taking any benefit from this month. Tomorrow, in the sermon of the Holy Prophet, we'll come across a line that says, and the miserable one is the one who is not responded to or who is not forgiven in this month. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to make us among them and make us among those whom He listens to and answers, insha'Allah. Let us recite Al-Fatiha for the deceased and the sick, insha'Allah. Before it, Salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين